Coming up next, Bookin It discusses the Warden and the Wolf King. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Bookin It. I am, of course, your humble and eloquent host, Cooper Cobbs, and joining me today are my two friends, Matthew Killingsworth.
Howdy.
And Isaiah Resky. How you doing, guys?
Hello.
Doing good. Merry early Christmas.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Actually, this will be about a week and a half before Christmas. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Exciting.
Well, speaking of the holidays, how was your guys' Thanksgiving so far? We just wrapped up Thanksgiving recording time.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I had a good Thanksgiving. Went to a lake house. We didn't go on the lake, obviously, but we had a fire and everything.
Oh, I didn't think that would have stopped you. You normally do.
No,
that's
that wouldn't have
Isaiah.
stopped me.
That's true. I did get
Isaiah-
a video one time. This was, what was this, October or November
February.
of
No, it
last
was
year?
last
and-
January.
Oh, it was February. Oh my goodness, of Isaiah
Yeah.
jumping off the lake house. Yeah, that was
Yep.
insane.
He
Isaiah was
actually
very
did it
adamant he
twice.
wasn't going to do that.
He went
And he
in,
did it.
stayed in a little bit, and then he's like, you know what? I want to do it again.
Yep.
That's right. Well, I had a fun Thanksgiving too. We flew into Pennsylvania, and I had to wear a mask a lot there, but it's fine. And
yeah.
then we
Saw those pictures.
flew back in first class, which was probably the first and only time in my childhood I'll get to do that. But it was a fun experience. Then I, much to my body's pain, I won the turkey trot. But yeah.
Very nice.
But it was fun. Yeah, it was fun. We spent Thanksgiving with my family and cousins, so yeah, we had a great time. Great time. Anybody else setting up their Christmas tree today besides Isaiah?
We actually did yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was
Getting a
pretty
move on,
fun.
eh?
We got
Yeah.
the tree yesterday,
got-
and now we're just putting on the ornaments.
Oh, yeah. Y'all get real
Nice.
trees. I wish we could do that. We always get
It's funny
fake
how
trees.
we always set up our tree on the day the Iron Bowl happens, which is kind of sad. In case you don't know, I'm a big Auburn fan. Dad went to Auburn.
Yeah.
Anyway, Iron Bowl's today, which is exciting.
Oh,
But anyway,
yeah, probably won't
yeah,
watch it.
just
That's
gonna be
cool.
the
Yeah.
one.
I probably won't watch that either. That's
Who's
cool.
Michigan playing, Isaiah?
I don't know. I don't really watch football right now.
Yeah, especially with Michigan not being so great. It's okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's get.
Says it really fast. He moves on.
Okay, let's
Alright.
talk about most second half of the Warden and the Wolf King. So I think where we leave off was it Scree. We were in Scree last year. It was last episode.
I think so. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
let's pick a spot and hop right in. I don't remember exactly where we left off.
Well, I remember last episode I was going to read a section that I was talking about before we ran out of time, and I promised I'd read it this episode. So we were talking about, I was talking about analogies in the book, but then I started going on a little rabbit trail about Artham, and I really liked the part where he was explaining Anira. And so I'm just going to read a couple of these paragraphs to talk about that, if that's all right. So he says, the towns are perfect, and then Armelin the Bard says, what do you mean? He says, let me put it like this. Imagine you're walking one of the footpaths that cut through the countryside. You have a staff and a rucksack. And after a few brisk hours, you think to yourself, I could use a hearty bowl of limpany stew right now. The villages in Anir are so perfectly spaced that as soon as you have that thought, you crest a hill and see a village in the valley below, with smoke in the chimneys and the smell of hay on the wind. You stroll into town, and after some bibes from the village fount, every village has a fount for travelers, you turn around and see a little inn or tavern, likely next to the apollary or bookstore. And he says in every town there's a requirement to have a bookstore. He says, you stride into that inn and lean your walking stick by the door, and no sooner than you've sat down and sipped a pint of something warm, the proprietor brings you a bowl of limply stew. And Armelin the Bard replies, but how does he know? They always have what you want in Anira. It's not that the cooks are magic, it's the land, you see. When you're walking through that part of the island, the shape of the hills, the color of the leaves, the way the light hits the tree trunks, the cool of the morning and smell of the crocks, probably limply sprouts, all contrive to make you want exactly the right thing at the right time. I just thought
Yeah,
that was so cool. And just
Yeah.
really helps you picture Anira. And I love how Andrew Peterson wrote it in that way where it was like even the chapter title is Story Time with Artham. It's Artham explaining to all the Skreans who've never been there, who some of them are like have a near ancestors, and he's just explaining it to them, and it just sounds like such a wonderful place. And I love how Artham's able to stay himself long enough when he's talking about Anira, even though it brings back sad memories.
Yeah. Until the very end, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to sit here. Actually, let me pull it up. So, I said we flied it. So we flew in. We got back to Dallas, and Matthew says, "Oh yeah, I forgot to say I finished Warden the Wolf King last night." Okay, I'm gonna read these texts. So, hey guys, this is Matthew. I forgot to tell you that I finished Warden the Wolf King last night. I say, well, what'd you think? He says, not gonna lie, the last half of that book was pretty dang close to level Harry Potter. So, Matthew, this is
Hey, we're not talking
praise.
about the last half yet. Yeah,
It's true.
it is.
All right. But
Well,
I just want to say,
The last half
I-
isn't
I'm
part of this because
admitting
we're talking about
I
the
did
middle
say that,
third.
and it's true.
yeah. I mean, it's great. All right. So
Cooper just couldn't
help
help himself but read that.
I mean,
discuss this next week.
I was like, is
Yeah.
it possible? Is this happening? I had
Yeah.
to rub my eyes. I mean, it was late night, but no. Anyway,
Yeah.
so one of my main things with Wingfeather Saga, it's kind of like a Star Wars conundrum. It's literally been 9 years, and everybody forgets Anira even existed. But, you know, is that ever an issue for you guys? Especially with kind of a Star Wars. It's been 19 years since the Jedi were gone. Everybody somehow forgot they existed.
Yeah. It is interesting. I mean, definitely not everybody. It seems like all the important / like somewhat main characters still remembered it. But then like all the normal folk did forget about it.
Yeah.
Like some people thought it was like a legend. I don't know. Now that you
It's like,
now that
it's
you
been
say
9
that,
years. Yeah. Isaiah, what about you?
I don't really get how they could forget about it. Like, it was only 9 years.
Yeah, same.
Like,
Same.
Yeah.
if it was
And
such
if
a
it was
big
really
and
such a
important and
wonderful
powerful
place, yeah.
country, like, it's just gone and then you forget
Yeah.
about it instantly? What?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
Dang,
it was
but I
just
think
because they were so distracted by the fangs and like they didn't want to remember because it reminded them
Yeah.
of how bad of a place they were in there. I don't know.
That's true, and especially with later on in the books, how like a lot of the Cloven, they don't want to remember pretty much, right?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't. It hurts to remember, so they're like, yeah, we don't really want to remember. But I think, yeah, I agree. My favorite parts are when they're learning about Anira, just because it's so sparse and it's also very well written. In the times that it happens, that it's always some of my favorite parts.
Yes.
Anyway,
See, that is now my second favorite part actually. But,
Second favorite part, eh?
yeah, my
Oh.
favorite part is in the last half of the book, so we'll talk about it next
All
time.
right, talk about it next episode. All right. So, what do you guys think about just kind of the Battle of Scree and I don't know, just thoughts about this section, and then we'll kind of zoom in a little bit.
It was good. I hate saying good. No, I liked that. Obviously, was not as good as the second half of the book. I'm just gonna keep saying it because I really liked the second half of this book. And
Yeah, definitely.
but I wish, like, I don't know, it just seemed to stop like abruptly. It was like all this build up, and then there was a battle. I'm not saying it was like a complete Tolkien move, but it was like there was a battle, but then like out of nowhere, they just seemed to kind of luck out, and they didn't actually have to fight. Like
Yeah.
once they thought it was gonna get way worse, they didn't actually have to fight it. They just kind of happened because all the fangs had to retreat, and then they just went back to Glipwood, and then went back to Dugtown, and then like everyone just like went on their own, and like Sarah was like lonely for a few weeks after that, and was like, "Are you kidding? She has all these friends. She just fought a war with like a bunch of people, and they're like just letting her stay there and take care of a bunch of kids without like visiting or anything." I was like, and then Armand the Bard left too because he wanted to go on adventures.
Yeah.
I was just
that's
like,
true.
wow, that's kind of
Yeah,
that's-
it did kind of have a very abrupt descent. I don't really like the ending of the second part of
You don't
this
like
book,
the
to be
abrupt
honest.
descent?
Well,
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. I think it works barely, but I just don't like the actual ending of the.
I'll tell you what
guess
I
it
don't
kind of
like.
sets up the end.
most about it. What I dislike most about it. Yeah. What I dislike most about it is Artham he's like, "All right, I'm just going to stay here in my treehouse." And I'm gonna cry about my brother who I left, but I'm gonna leave his family on the other side of the world where all of the things are going. I'm not gonna go over there to protect them. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
magically appear at the end whenever they already finished the battle, and some of them
Right.
died. So it's like, dude, I really wanted Arthur to go back, and really this book, I like Arthur, and he's been my favorite character the whole time, but now he's not. After this book, he should have been there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, really, to kind of raise Janner to the this part Arthur, they really had to kind of make Arthur, or more, I guess, Andy Peterson had to make Arthur seem a little less like the man he used to be, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
I
again,
guess,
I mean,
I guess
Arthur is
so.
still good in this book. He's still good. But again, yeah, I mean, I think I agree. I think it would have been great if all seemed lost, then Arthur came flying in and defeated Nat the Nameless. That would have been really cool.
Exactly. That would have been
But
epic.
Isaiah, your thoughts?
Yep, that would have been cool. But I mean, it was a bit disappointing, but it also showed like what Arthur was going through, like how much pain and
Yeah.
suffering and whatever. The memories.
Yeah, but like it's supposed to be where he overcomes it all and then comes and wins the battle for him or something, or not wins it, but like
Yeah.
comes at least
And
is
helps,
in the
yeah.
picture.
It's true.
I don't know.
Yeah, I
Arthur
agree
was
with
a bit of
Isaiah.
a
I think I
disappointment.
can see.
I
Yeah, I,
was
can
kind of-
see that the fact they need to show his kind of despair, but I agree they could have done something more.
Yeah, I kind of
I never,
wanted the whole
sorry,
time.
I say they. I meant Andrew Peterson. Sorry.
Yeah, gotcha. The whole time I was just kind of wanting Arthur and Janner to be like the throne wardens, and kind of be like Merrily and Gammon, just be like a
Yeah.
crime fighting team, kind of.
That would have been
That would
funny.
have been cool.
That would have been pretty cool.
Yeah. What do you guys think about the Merrily and Claxton part of the book? Just kind of their relationship and the struggle that they face.
He wasn't the best dad.
Let's just leave it at that. Yeah. And he literally fakes trying to get her back. I mean, I guess you could argue, yeah, he had a little bit of love just because he wanted to get her out of the way before the Fangs overran the city, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not advocating for him. Definitely, he's terrible.
Yeah, if he
Like,
was
what'd you guys
smart, he
think
would
about
have
just
left
that
her
kind
with
of-
Gammon because that's the most safest spot
Yeah.
in the screen.
That's true. Yeah, she's saying, "If you love me, let me go." Right? Isaiah, what about you? What do you think about Merrily and Claxton's relationship and that whole kind of scene with the Stranders and Nurgabog too?
I mean, I don't really know. I didn't think it was that important or anything. Because he just kept going back to that random times. Like, sometimes it was
Yeah,
important,
that's
like,
true.
with Janner and all that when they were there, but whenever they weren't, it really wasn't that important.
I agree. I mean, it's just like
Yeah.
with the latest Mandalorian episode. I'm like, what? Well, yeah, you threw some plot stuff in there, but there is literally no point for
Actually,
this to
don't
happen
talk about that. I still haven't
whatsoever.
watched any of the second season.
Okay, well, like
I'm
some
going
of the
kidding
episodes
me?
are
I will
pointless.
this weekend,
Dude.
but like,
Wait, which episode are you
okay,
talking
but-
about, Cooper? The one that came out yesterday?
No, sorry, I haven't seen that one yet. The
Oh, okay.
the
That
other
one's
one,
pretty good.
last week's. Yeah, well, no, I just thought it was pointless, pretty much. Besides some plot stuff, but anyway, it's just kind of like that. I agree with Isaiah. They're not main characters. I mean, this is one of the reasons I don't like the ending to this great part of the book is Gammon
Right.
and Merrily literally have no purpose. Like, oh, they were fun. Up, never mind. Shut off. Right.
yep.
They have their own little purpose, but I mean, it's fun. But really, the Sarah is the only main character left on this side who still has some part to play in the story.
Yeah.
I mean, we like
But that's
Scree, we
really,
like
like-
the characters over there, but it's not the main point.
From this point forward, though, Sarah doesn't really have a part because like Tanner's talked about it a million
yeah.
times about how she's been in the 4th page of the first book or whatever, and they brought her back and all
Right.
that, and that was cool. But like in this book, she
Oh yeah,
really
sorry,
didn't play a part. None of the
Tanner's
Screens
not
really
going to
did.
be here for that episode. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like Sarah. I guess she's the only person who appears in the latter half of the book, besides Gammon and
Well,
Merrily
and
don't
Arthur.
really.
Technically, yeah.
And Arthur, that's true. That's true. But I mean, like, this area. But anyway. Oh, yeah. So, again, I really like this section with Gammon and Merrily, and Gammon doing everything to get Merrily back. But again, I see, like, no set of tracks. They just kind of disappeared and then reappeared again. There's no development. I wish he had given us some, like, flashbacks in the past of what had happened. Because even I've talked about this, I think in North Eden episodes, maybe, about just how he
You're
just
cutting out
suddenly
a lot.
cares for
I
her.
can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Like, there's just this whole part where it's you think that Merle and Gammon's relationship has grown stronger, and they care for each other, right? But you don't see that ever. You don't see that happening. It just starts. I mean, I wish we had some, because this is one of my favorite parts. Is when Gammon's trying to get Merle back, but we just don't see enough that it could have been even better.
I think I said this all in the first book, that a lot of stuff was kind of just like cheesy, if you know what I mean.
Silly,
like,
cheesy.
Just like some of the stuff they said. I thought when Merle was like, "Someone get me a mask. I'm gonna be the Shadow Blade" or whatever. I was like, that is so cheesy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, that was awkward. And then at the end of the book, they brought it back, and they were like, "There's these two guys running across Scree, defeating all the bad guys, called the Florid Sword and Shadow Blade." And I was like, ugh, that just cringe at that.
Isaiah,
It's
your
like they
thoughts?
tried to be superheroes or something.
Yeah.
I basically felt like the same as Matthew. I mean, in the beginning, I thought it was like kind of cool, but then I thought about it a bit more, and I'm like, oh, that's just weird. Just seems weird after it. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, literally, the Gammon gives this great giant speech about how we're gonna defeat the Fangs, and if not, well, it'll be like the noblest ending in history, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
And we'll tell our children about it, and then the Fangs disappear. And Matthew was right. It wasn't. This was almost more of a Tolkien like has the battle, but it's like really lame. But this one just kind of flies away.
Yeah.
You know.
Like they fought, and it was hard, and then they got on top, and then it was hard, and then they got on top, and then they kind of regrouped because they beat the Fangs at the first battle, and the Fangs had all these ships, but then like I can't even really remember what happened because it all happened in like one page. Like I think the guys the guys blew up the ships, and then all the rest of the Fangs retreated across the sea, and then they were freed.
Yeah.
But okay, we've been criticizing this part for like 5 whole minutes.
That's true.
But I will say, after the end of the battle, when they all retreated and when they finally won, I did like the walk back to Dugtown with all the Glipwood township folks.
Oh yeah, that was a fun part.
I really liked that part. And then I loved how all the parents got to be reunited with their kids.
Yeah, it really had some like emotional weight with Sarah. Just she knows her parents are gone, and just stuff like that.
I really wanted her parents to be back,
sets it at the end. Yeah, well, if you ever read the Wingfeather Tales, they have this whole like 100-page story about her father. It's kind of
oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was my
Armelin the Bard.
I am your father.
Yeah, that would have been really funny, actually. I am your father, Sarah. What? No, it cannot be. That would have been really funny.
I'll cut off your hand to prove it.
Yeah, I really liked the part with Borley and Sarah gets offered a chance to have a real family, and then she just kind of turns it down. She stays. I really like that part. It adds some emotional weight, definitely. Yeah. I guess we should. Is that anything else you guys want to say about the Scree part of the book before we move on to part 3?
No, there's not much else to say about Scree. It's just Artham just kind of ditched everybody. He he went back to his treehouse and then just like told Sarah he was staying there.
Yeah.
And then you didn't see him for like basically the whole rest of the book. And when he finally did show up, I mean, I don't want to spoil the end, but like when he basically did, it was pointless.
Yeah. I mean, I think that what was I gonna say? My goodness, it's kind of like in the like Return of the King, the ending of the Fellowship, where they kind of go their separate ways, but except it's not like a glorious ending. Like they're really high. You know, I guess they kicked the Fangs out of Scree, yay! But there's still some bittersweet stuff going on, and there is with Lord of the Rings too. Oh, by the way, guys, of this recording, we're only $5 away from reading Lord of the Rings, so make sure you go donate because we would love to do Lord of the Rings, right, guys?
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, weird spot. Anyway, but like it just kind of it's really bittersweet, but it doesn't really work as it's kind of supposed to be happy and give emotional weight to Sarah for the ending, and it almost works. I feel like looking like this book it's really big. It's way bigger than any of the other ones. I feel like they had to cut a lot out of this part because it just feels kind of incomplete. Yeah. I feel like if we had a couple more chapters, like it's the same
even
thing with
another
Interstellar.
book.
Yeah,
It might have been better if they just split it up into other books.
Yeah, that would have been. I mean, Warren Looking Part 1, Part 2. Yeah, I think that would have been great, because the same thing with Interstellar. It's an okay 2 hour and 45 minutes. It would have been a terrible 2.5 hour movie, but it could have been a great 3 hour movie. What I'm saying is this book's already
Yeah.
really long. Just add some stuff, especially in this part, because I think everywhere else is fine. It just makes it better and more emotionally relevant, because this part could be really well, and it could be really well set up for the ending, but I feel like it just doesn't quite do that. All right, are we done? We're moving on to Throg. Throg is definitely probably the weirdest section of all of these. Can you guys agree with that?
Easily, but it's
Yeah.
still one of the best sections of the book.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
a great section. It's just weird.
Yeah, the cloven.
Yeah, the cloven.
I don't know what.
That itself makes it weird.
Even at the end, the cloven just give me bad vibes. I don't know why. They're just. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just kind of
I
creepy.
like the cloven. I like what they represent, but it's really just really weird and quirky.
Yeah.
I like them, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably one of the I guess. I mean, it's well written, but it's the worst written of any of these sections. It's worse than Scree, I think, just because. How do you write about like the cloven and then the throg, which is also really weird? You know, I mean,
I actually
give
thought
them
it was
props for
pretty
trying,
good.
but yeah, I thought it was good too. I just think
There was also this is another interesting thing. So I felt like the first half of the book, the Bonifer Swoon sections, like in between each section, I guess.
Oh, yeah, we didn't talk
in
about
between
those.
each part, they were like kind of relevant, but like you didn't really see like why they were there. It was almost like the first time they did it, I was almost like that's pretty weird, AP. Like, what's going on, man? But then
AP. That's
Yeah.
what
oh
we
yeah,
call it
that's
here.
what us dudes call them. You know, we're all no. But then, no. But later, like the second half of the book, it really started like it was directly connecting, and like you were learning about stuff that was actually happening in the real story, and that's when it got so interesting, and I started wanting more. And then in Throg, there was 3 different Bonifer Swoon sections without like
Right.
yeah, there was 3 just in that part without like transitioning parts. So I thought that was interesting because it had a lot to say there.
Yeah, because Bonifer Swoon does make a reappearance, which is really weird. What do you guys think about the section with the cloven and kind of what they represent, and kind of what are your thoughts on that part?
I thought it was a little disturbing. Very like it's
Yeah, it was
definitely I
weird.
think the most like mystical, like magical type. And I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but like, you know what I'm saying? The most mystical like type part of the whole series, that's just like kind of mysterious, you know?
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really
It
know how
was
to
just
put it in words.
really
but
weird.
Totally.
Yeah, I like what they represent. We are I like Matthew said, we're the parts with Bonifer Swoon and that kind of story, how it is outside of this story, yet it is relevant to this story at the same time. And I'm sure Tanner would be geeking out if he was on this one, but it's really cool to see how the cloven are made and what they have to do, especially kind of added on to what we learned in North of Beaten in a little bit in context with Monster in the Hollows. Just kind
Yeah.
of how broken they are and how beaten up, and they're waiting for, I guess, like I said, we kind of talked about it a little bit last episode, but the seed to start the new garden. This one is definitely more with the maker, and I really like that.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think about the seed to start the new garden?
The
Do
prediction.
you guys like that kind of prophecy? I'm gonna call it prophecy.
Arendelle or whatever her name is.
It's like the
Arendelle.
maker and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So like
Yeah.
the cloven leader is a half tree, half person called Arendelle, who is Artham's old girlfriend.
How does that even make sense?
But then she becomes
Supposed
a
to
tree.
turn into animals,
Yeah.
and she turns into a tree. Huh?
I don't know.
Anyways, but
It is kind of where I fit in the box.
yeah, but like you're asking about the prophecy, I thought it was a cool role that it played, because it took a while, because it started like you first heard about the prophecy pretty early on in the Throg section, and then it didn't really like you didn't really see what it was for until close to the end
Yeah, I
of the
mean,
book.
at the very end, everything comes together, and you're like, oh, whoa.
Whoa. Yep.
Yeah. So, what do you think about the part with Esben and the cave and the Cloven over there? Did you guys like that section? Did it add anything that you didn't know? Did it take away anything?
I don't
Wait.
think it was super like crazy important role in the story, but
What part are you talking about?
the Esben cave
Where
part.
Kalmar or older Chadwick took them to the cave.
I liked it because
Oh, yeah, yeah.
it showed how like Janner and Kalmar were the two things that were keeping, and I guess Lily too. The jewels were the only things keeping Esben sane and like still a person kind of. Because what happened,
Yeah.
like once you melded, was you like were some like Artham, you were sometimes insane, sometimes sane, and you couldn't really control yourself very well. But like,
You just lost your memory, basically.
Yeah, I agree with Isaiah. I liked it, but I was kind of like, what purpose did this play? Like we've made a lot of comparisons to Harry Potter, but in Harry Potter, every small thing seems relevant, no matter what.
right, right.
And same thing here. Like this little scene, it was great, but like, what did it have in the long run? Did it affect Kalmar? Well, we don't really get into Kalmar's head at all
Mhm.
to see kind of what it did to him. And I think with Scree, it's just a little incomplete. And I think it could have been really great and really emotional, but I don't know
Mhm.
what purpose it served in the long run.
Mhm.
All right, I think we can stop here. We'll have or you think we'll move on a little bit because next episode is probably gonna be a really long one.
Okay. Yeah. So,
You guys
hey,
wanna stop here?
should we go ahead and say that next week
Ookie.
for
Sure.
the Christmas episode, we are releasing the Gift of Magi.
No. No. Wait, hon. We have Warden Wolf King Part 3.
Are you
I
sure?
think, and then looking back.
Well, no.
Yeah.
On Christmas Day, we're releasing. Yeah, on Christmas Day, we're
Yeah.
releasing Gift of the Magi
So that's our special Christmas episode. It's a short story,
as an extra episode.
and yeah.
Definitely be on the lookout for that. It's gonna be. We already recorded it. It's a very fun episode.
Yes.
You'll want to listen to it with your family on Christmas. It'll be a great fun episode.
It's
right?
a little shorter too, I think. It's just a nice
Yeah,
short
it's a little
story.
short. It's in
Mhm.
You've probably
mid-20s.
heard the story before.
Yep.
Even if you haven't read the short story.
If not, it's been Disneyfied. Yeah.
It's been Disneyfied.
Hashtag Disneyfied. All right. Let's do some donor shoutouts. Isaiah, what would someone want to do if they wanted a donor shoutout?
Well, they'd have to go to patreon.com/bookinit and choose any of the 4 tiers we have there to donate. And all of them give you a
That's
shout.
right.
Isn't it 5 tiers now?
And oh no, we haven't added that one yet.
Okay.
Well, we're adding
That's right,
another tier.
We're adding a
So-
cheaper tier. So you guys thinking, oh, I'd like to donate, but it's
You
too
just
much.
don't know what it's going to
Yeah,
give you yet.
it'll probably be out by the time you listen to this. All right. So donor shoutouts. How are we gonna do donor shoutouts today, guys?
Okay, I had an idea. So what about we do clovens? Like not necessarily. I'm not implying that the Patreons are like choosing to become fangs or anything. I'm just saying like, what if we just did like mixed animals just for fun or something?
Ooh.
Okay.
So like,
Alrighty,
someone
so,
will name a
Isaiah.
Patreon and then they will say that like, what 2 animals mixed together they could be.
I'll go first. All right, Nana, you will be a half human, half sheep. Okay.
Van Pappy and Wayla, you guys can both be the same one. You can be a half human, half giraffe.
Oh, that's pretty hot.
All right, my grandparents, you guys can both be the same, and you'll be half bunny, half bear.
All right, Becky, half bunny, half bear. Okay, Becky, this will be very special for you. You can be half sea dragon and half dinosaur. That's pretty cool right there.
Isaiah's Uncle Sebi, you get to be a dragon and a lion.
Oh, that's pretty
Because
cool.
you're kind of a beast, you know? You were like in the military and stuff.
That's awesome.
So, Aunt Jenny and Uncle Sam, you guys will both be half sea star, half lion.
Okay.
Is that my turn? Okay. Okay, so that's a new donor, and we have 2 more donors after them. Isaiah's cousins. You guys can be you can be both swordfish and tiger. Oh, this is fun.
Yeah, see, it was a good idea. All right, and then our newest donor, Christopher. Thank you, my man. So, for Christopher, we have a special announcement thing, I guess. He has his own podcast called Like Lightning, where he reads his short stories and flash fiction, which he tells us is super short stories. So if you want to check that out, it's called Like Lightning, all caps. And
Yeah, very cool, very cool, very well written
Yes.
stuff, very great. All right, and what's
What's
gonna
his
be, Matt?
what is Chris? Oh, Chris is going to be an elephant and a mouse.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's
That's
very
great.
ironic too. All right, make sure you go to patreon.com/booking it. Remember, we only need $5 before we do Lord of the Rings.
That's right.
If you can't
One
donate
more
for whatever
donator.
reasons, that's right.
Or
That's right.
Patreon.
Please.
Donate.
Yeah. Please leave a review down below. 5 stars. We'd really appreciate it. And until next time.
Keep on booking it.